Is high. Perfect weather for Game 4 of the National League Championship Series between the Cardinals and the Giants. St. Louis currently on top 2-1. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jimmy Sefalo. Marv Albert on assignment, of course, this afternoon, calling the fight in Las Vegas. A little bit later on, it'll be Danny Cox versus Mike Krukow here at Candlestick. This afternoon in the American League Championship Series, it was the Tigers crawling back into it against the Minnesota Twins. Let's go to Bill McAtee in New York.
5-0 lead. But the Twins took out the knife and began to whip. In the bullpen, number 4. Diana, a base-loaded single, and the Twins appeared on the verge of the most spectacular comeback in NLCS history. They unlikely and that most impact game will be in Michigan in 7-6 runs.
Thanks, Bill. Shaping up to be quite a series in the American League. Well, we're just moments away from Game 4 here in Candlestick Park. The National League Championship Series pregame show is brought to you by Taco Bell. Say hello to fresh, exciting taste. Just say hello.
The baseball giants began their history at the Polo Grounds in Harlem, where they played for 46 years before leaving their fans with only the memories of great Giant moments. A decline in attendance made a move necessary.
At a meeting of our board today, they voted permission for us to transfer the New York Giants franchise to San Francisco. Does that mean you will definitely do it? That's right.
The last game at the Polo Grounds was watched by 11,000 faithful fans, grieving the loss of their beloved Giants. For some, baseball would never be the same.
San Francisco, open your golden gate. You let no stranger.
Their arrival was well received in the city by the Bay. For 2 years, the Giants made their home at Seal Stadium, just around the corner from here, until construction was completed at their permanent home of Candlestick Park, named by fan ballot in 1959 for the point on which it sits. The Giants began building their team with memorable moments provided by some future heroes.
May spent another one. Tell it, bye-bye, baby. Aaron doesn't even move. Drive to deep left field. Back goes Crawford. Still going back. It's gone! A grand slam home run! McCovey!
Other memorable moments were of more interest to meteorologists than to fans.
I came in relief in the 9th inning, and I believe there's 2 men on base, second and first. And the wind was blowing very hard at the time, and an extra gust of wind came along and just moved me about 3 or 4 inches. I just waved. But the headlines the next day in the paper were Miller was blown off mound.
The gusts of wind continued to blow at Candlestick. Even this current season brought with it its share of windy embarrassments. The evenings here are not just windy, but cold. In fact, the Giants have used Madison Avenue tactics to make their chilled crowds proud of their ability to withstand the wind.
To those valiant few who stay to the end of an extra inning night game, the San Francisco Giants present the Quad Candlestick. From the team that hangs in there to the fans that hang in there. Hold back up there. Kids, let them go.
Well, the present-day Giants will have to try and hang in here tonight at Candlestick. If not, they'll be down 3-1 in the National League Championship Series. Joining us, the man who chased a lot of balls around here in this park, Joe Morgan. Joe, any favorite thoughts about your playing days here at the Stick?
Well, actually, Jimmy, there are 2 things that come to mind. Once, before I was playing, I was in the left field bleachers. Willie Mays hit a fly ball. I came to chase it so I could catch it, and the wind came up and blew it back into the ballpark. Another time I was actually playing here in the major leagues. There was a line drive to center field. Billy North was playing center field. He charged the ball. All of a sudden, a gust of wind came up and blew the ball 20 feet to his left for a base hit. We lost the ball game 1-0. Things like that do happen here at Candlestick Park.
Yeah, we might expect some tonight. Talk about tonight's game. What are the key elements do you see for the Giants and for the Cardinals?
Well, so far, the Giants' left-handed pitchers have been able to contain the St. Louis Cardinals. Their right-handers haven't done so well. Mike Krukow is a right-handed pitcher. So the Cardinals get their running game started against right-handed pitchers. So he's going to have to keep them off base. So the key element I see here is him going at least 5 or 6 innings so Roger Craig can bring in his left-handers out of the bullpen.
All right, key point, Mike Krukow, the San Francisco Giants. Joe, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again real soon. When we come back, we'll talk to one of the most important elements of the St. Louis Cardinal team. Well, Game 4 is just moments away. Joining me, Mike Rourke, the pitching coach for the St. Louis Cardinals, who's got a difficult task tonight. You've had a lot of time to work with Danny Cox. Let's go through some of the lineup. Let's take a look at Will Clark. How will you pitch him tonight?
Will Clark is a good hitter, and we can't stay one way with him. Danny Cox has a curveball, a changeup, and a fastball, and we're going to try to move the ball in and out, and he's going to show him all 3 pitches. But again, you know, we just can't stay in one spot for him. He's too good a hitter for that.
All right, the hack man, Jeffrey Leonard, you'd have trouble with him throughout the series. What do you do differently tonight with Danny Cox?
Well, I just hope that Danny doesn't make the mistakes that we've made against, you know, the hack man, because we've thrown him a hanging curveball, a hanging changeup in the middle of the plate, and a fastball that was waist high right out over the middle of the plate. If he stays away from that, he's going to throw him the breaking ball. He'll throw him the fastball and try to catch it inside.
Thanks, Mike. Now let's go to public address announcer Jeffrey Bonds.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to center field. Presenting the colors for tonight's game is the United States Army Color Guard from the Presidio of San Francisco. Ladies and gentlemen, may we please ask that you rise at this time to honor America with our national anthem. Please welcome the lead singer of a group who is known worldwide for such hits as We Built This City, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, and It Ain't Over Till It's Over. From the Bay Area's own Starship, please welcome lead singer Mickey Thomas.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We'll be back with Vin Scully and Joe Garagiola at Candlestick Park in just a few moments. But first, let's go to New York for an NBC News Digest.
NBC Sports presents the 1987 National League Championship Series. Tonight from Candlestick Park, it's the St. Louis Cardinals versus the San Francisco Giants. Brought to you by Miller Brewing Company, sole sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Centers. By the heartbeat of America, today's Chevy truck. By AT&T, the right choice. And by Mr. Goodwrench. No one knows your GM car better than Mr. Goodwrench. No one. Everybody, I'm Vin Scully, along with Joe Garagiola. Welcome to Candlestick Park in Game 4 of the National League Championship Series. Last night, maybe David didn't slay Goliath, but he certainly won the round. With the Giants leading 4-0, the Cardinals got off the floor and won it going away 6-5. For Whitey Herzog, two of his hardly ables are in the lineup tonight, Terry Pendleton and the pitcher who should have opened up the series, Danny Cox. But what about Roger Craig? The Giants didn't get here on hope. They got here on wins. And Roger's job is to shake whatever psychological cloud would be over the ball club. Let's find out about it and go to Joe.
Okay, Vin. Roger, you've had two bitter disappointments. By that, I mean games that looked like you were going to win, should have won, and you didn't. What do you do to shake the ball club loose from thoughts like that?
Well, I think that's been the strength of this ball club all year long. We can always come back and win a crucial ball game after we lose a tough game like we lost last night. Nobody wanted to lose that game, but it just happens. You can throw all the things out of the book when you start a playoff or World Series. Anything can happen. Look at the Tigers and the Twins, what's happening over there. Anything can happen in baseball. That's why it's such a great ball game. And we are up for this ball game. There's nobody with their dauber down. We feel we can win.
There it is. You got the dauber down and hum, baby, Vin.
So it looks like Hum Baby against the White Rat. And on the sidelines, Mike Krukow going against Danny Cox. We'll get to the starting lineups all coming up right after this. Conditions. Let's take a look at the Cardinals and the way they come up in the first inning. Vince Coleman in left field and Ozzie Smith at short. Tommy Herr, the second baseman. Dan Dreesen clean up at first, followed by Willie McGee. Terry Pendleton back in the starting lineup at third. Kurt Ford in right field. Tony Pena behind the plate. Danny Cox the pitcher. And on the mound, a fellow whose initial should be ND for no decision, Mike Krukow.
There's a defense. You see Milner in center field. Aldretti is in right field and at third base. And what a night he had last night. Even the Cardinals were talking about Kevin Mitchell. How could he play Coleman so close to the line on the very first pitch of the game? And there's the first play that he made. He had a couple of beauties.
Mike Krukow had 17 no decisions this year, more than any other pitcher in the major league. He comes in 5-6. But 4 of those wins without a loss.